In this video, I am going to give a lecture on how the Bible has come into existence. What is the origin of the Bible? Let's understand how the Bible has come into existence. The Bible, first of all, it consists of 66 books, and the Bible was divided into two parts, the Old Testament and New Testament. So the Old Testament consists of 39 books and New Testament consists of total 27 books. The Bible has been derived from the Greek word biblios, which can be said as a meaning of papyrus, or it is also said that since it's a compilation of a 66 book into one book, it is known as Bible because it's a Greek word is biblios. Bible is derived from the Greek word. Now let's understand as to what are the original languages of the Bible, whether the Bible was really in the English language or in some other languages. Actually, the Old Testament of the Bible was in Hebrew language. The first 5 books of the Old Testament is known as Pentateuch, that is Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers and Deuteronomy. Basically, this is known as a book of law, which is also known as Pentateuch, and it is believed that God has directly given an instruction to a Moses. There was no mediator, there was no prophet, there was no person including between the Jewish people and the God. God has directly spoken to Moses. So this first 5 books of the Bible, which is known as the book of law, it includes a lot of commandments and the instructions, rules and regulations for the human being as well as for the spiritualism. So this 5 book is very important, and lot of religion, not only Christians, but also whether it's Islam, whether basically Jewish people, Judaism, believe on this first 5 book, and they give lot of importance to this first 5 book. It is known as Torah. The other name for this 5 book is Pentateuch. And the people, the Torah, when they read, Jewish give lot of importance because when they read Torah, they dress up themselves into a traditional way, then only they read Torah. In fact, the Torah is not in the book form, it is in the form of the scrolls. So I hope that you understood the first 5 books of the Bible. Why I explain the first 5 books of the Bible is it is in the Hebrew language. And the entire Old Testament of the Bible was really in the Hebrew language. It was not in Germany, Chinese or in English, but it was in the Hebrew language. Only 2 book or 3 book of the Old Testament, that is Ezekiel and Daniel, and most of the part of the Esther is believed to be written in the Aramaic language. And that is the first 39 books of the Old Testament first time translated into the Greek languages. So this Greek language, when it has been translated, it has been called as Septuagint. So it is very important. The Old Testament, which is written in the Hebrew language, is known as Tanakh. The Old Testament, when it is written in the Greek language, it is known as Septuagint. In every Bible, if we see the first few pages of the Bible, that is a kind of preface or the acknowledgement, we can generally see this word Septuagint. It means this Bible has been written from taking the originality or by referring it to the Septuagint, or sometimes it is referred to the Tanakh also. So every time when the Bible is translated, everyone, whether it is theologian, whether it is historian, whether it is a biblical leader or the biblical scholar, they refer to the Greek language and to the Hebrew language. It is generally believed that the people say, since the Bible has went under a lot of process of translation into various languages like English, Burmese, Tamil or any other languages, the Bible would have lost its essence. But it is not so. Today also Bible retain its original essence, because all the Bible, whenever it is translated by referring it to the Greek language and as well as to the Hebrew language. So since it is translated by saying to the Greek and the Hebrew language, which is the original language, there is a very less possibility that there can be any change or the losing of essence of the Bible. They were not a theologian, they were not the historical scholar, they were not the biblical scholar. They were the people who have seen as to what has happened. They were the people who are very close to God. They were generally a righteous people, whoever is like prophets or Ezra, David, King Solomon, then Moses. And these are the people who were righteous and who were close to God, who was getting an instruction from a God to lead an Israelite. So these are the people who are though they have written the various books, but it is written as to what has happened and what they understood as. And this, by time when they were writing it, they were never under the impression that one day it will be included in the book of Bible. So when they have written, they were not having any vested interest, because these books were written before 2000 years or 3000 years. At that time, they can't even imagine that there will come a day, there will be a printing press, or there will be a day when the Bible will come into existence. So they were not aware of it. So it can be best assured that what is written at that point of time is written with the pure interest for the public. It was written for the pure interest for the leading the nation, for leading the people. So there were no vested interests. That is one point. Now we'll understand the background of various authors. The various authors who has written the Bible, they don't belong to a same background. They were all from a different background. For example, Ezra, he was one of the author for First Chronicles, Second Chronicles and Ezra. And he was very good at temple law, how to build a temple. He was very spiritual person. Suppose we take King David, then King David was a very good king. He was a righteous king, and he has led Israel in righteously, and he has led Israel in a justful manner. Suppose if we take the King Solomon, even he was the most wisest king, it is understood as, because he asked for the wisdom. So, and he is the one who has built a temple for a God. So everyone, if we take Matthew, he was a tax collector. If we take the Luke, he was a doctor. If you take Paul, he was a great scholar, and in the Jewish tradition, he was known as the rabbi of rabbi. I mean, wherever he has studied from, he was a great scholar at that point of time. If we include the various other authors, most of them were prophets. They also belong to a different background. Though they were a prophet, they all had their own profession. Like some were shepherds. Isaiah was a politically influenced person. Jeremiah was again a kind of a politically influenced person. Some were a shepherd. So everyone has their own background, but God has led every one of them. God was not partial enough to lead only one traditional people or one kind of professional people. But this Bible majorly include the history of the Israelite and the Jewish tradition, as to how Israelites have disobeyed God, as to how they went away from God, as to how they have been put right by God time and again, how they have been restored time and again. And it majorly shows the love of God towards the nations, towards the people, towards the kings. Everything, it is showing only a love of God, and God really wants us to be righteous. He wants us to be unjust, and he wants us not to be unjust. And if we are unjust, as to how dealt with the people who were unjust at that point of time, that history is also included in this Bible. Generally, in a modern time, it is understood that only by reading a New Testament is enough. There is no requirement to read a Old Testament. But I would like to put it to you that reading an Old Testament is also important, because that is where the promise has been given, how the God will save his people. And regarding the coming of Jesus is already been prophesied in the prophetic book. Hence, it is very important to know the Old Testament and New Testament, because New Testament is the fulfillment of the Old Testament. So, Old Testament history, it is very important to know. The prophecy of the Old Testament is also important to know, so that we understand the importance of the Jesus coming to earth, and how the Jesus was able to remove the sin of this earth. As to what are the procedures he has set out, So we have to study both the book, that is the entire Bible. It is compulsory to study to understand the Bible in whole, because reading a part of the book will put us into abeyance and it will not give you the entire background of the Jesus coming to earth. If we see from the Old Testament, that is the last book of Old Testament, Malachi, till the time of Jesus coming to earth, there is a difference of 400 years. This is the time when the Greek kingdom was all over the world. So generally we don't understand, we just read Bible after Malachi, we go on with the Matthew, then Mark, Luke. But the reality is, after Malachi till the time the Jesus birth, there was no prophecy, and it is also known as a kind of dark age, because there was no prophecy was given by any of the prophet. And that is the time when the brilliant people like Aristotle, Plato and Socrates were there, and that was at the time of the Greek kingdom. So from Malachi to the Jesus birth time, there is a difference of 400 years, which we have to know, because between this 400 years there were a lot of historical changes which has took place all over the world. To know the history and to know the changes in the Bible, it is bit important to know this fact. So Malachi to Jesus birth, it took 400 years. Now we will go to the rest of the history after the Jesus resurrection, because after the 33 years is the period when Jesus was alive and he was there on the earth, who was doing his ministry, who was healing the people, who was the word of the God, and who was come to take our sins, our iniquity and transgression in the cross. So these are the things which was done by Jesus, but Jesus himself was there on earth only for 33 years. And the book which was written by various authors, they have been inspired by Jesus. Some were being with the Jesus and they were inspired by the Jesus, and there was a lot of talk going on as to what Jesus did for the world. This gave a reason to write a New Testament. And Paul was himself was being convicted by God directly, so he has written most of the books in the New Testament. So this is how the New Testament was written. So now we'll understand how this all book has come under one book known as Bible. So once Jesus was crucified, and after he has resurrected, the resurrection of Jesus was been a great miracle, because no one can win the death, and Jesus is the one who has won the death. So it was a great miracle, and Jesus has witnessed to the people. People have saw Jesus even after resurrection. So there was no doubt, there was no mystery about it. People have saw Jesus in his when he has appeared himself to others. This is how the people have got inspired, and the people who were with Jesus, who saw Jesus, they have started writing about the Jesus healing, Jesus ministry, Jesus birth, and some of them were with the Jesus. So it is a direct history from Jesus to us. So this book cannot be challenged again, because it records all the historical facts, and most of the facts of the Bible is confirmed by even by the archaeology, and even by the scientists, even by the historians. So Bible cannot be easily challenged, because it consists of the historical facts. And first we will understand how the Old Testament and New Testament of the Bible has been compiled. The Old Testament of the Bible has been compiled around the year 90 to 118 AD, and that has been affirmed by the Council of Jamia. And second time, the New Testament of the Bible has been compiled around 397 AD by Council of Carthage. And then the Bible has been first time published, that is it has been printed and published. It was in the year 1454, that is known as Gutenberg Bible. Gutenberg Bible is very special because it includes lot of aesthetic and the artistic way of putting a Bible. It has a lot of painting into it, lot of artistic uh, uh, aesthetic art into it. Now we will understand as to how all the book of the Bible has been agreed and how it has come under one book. In the year 382, the Council of Rome has decided to put all the books, that is 39 book of Old Testament and 27 book of a New Testament under one book. There is still one more segment of a Bible that is known as Book of Apocrypha, which includes the 14 more books, but generally most of the Bible consists of only 39 and 27 book, and some of the Bible it also consists of Book of Apocrypha. And now we'll see as to how the Bible was used as a book. For earlier, the Bible was not used as a book because as we are seeing today, there was no printing press earlier. Each book is maintained in a scroll. Every book had a scroll and every church maintained it in the scroll. So like today, as we carry Bible to the church, there was no such kind of practice. People were not having a Bible in their house. They have to go to the church, listen as to what is being read in a church. So this is what the practice was. Thereafter, in the year 1454, Gutenberg printing press as first time published a Bible in a form of a book, and that Bible consists of 42 lines per page. But one more thing which I would like to say is this book consists of lot of aesthetic art into it, and it has a lot of other arts into it, and which has made this Bible as very famous. And this, after this Gutenberg Bible, the printing press came into existence and it took a worldwide recognition, and most of the Western country has started publishing book after the existence of Gutenberg Bible printing press. Gutenberg Bible is the first Bible which is in a book or in the form of a book, and it was written in the Latin language. Now we will see as to when the Bible was divided. The books were divided into chapter wise and verse wise. As I said earlier, it was only books. The books were not divided chapter wise. It was not divided verse wise. It was a continuity. Everyone has to read each book into continuity. First time in the year 12th century, one bishop, Hugo de Santo Caro, he is the one who has divided each books into chapter wise. And thereafter, in the year 1551, one Mr. Robert Stephanus, he is the one who was divided into verse wise. So today what we are reading in the Bible as chapter wise and verse wise, it is because of these bishops and archbishop. They were the people who are responsible for making the Bible more simpler form and made a Bible to read it in a more easy manner. Today, when we refer the Bible, we refer it book wise, we refer it chapter wise, then we refer it as a verse wise. So earlier, this was not the system. They have to read it entirely. There was no chapter, there was no division of a chapter. I hope now all would have understood as to how the Bible has come into existence, what is the origin of the Bible, how all the books have been compiled into one book, and how the first Bible has come into existence in a form of a book. Now I would like to tell you one more thing. Bible is not a religious book. Actually, it is a book for all. Anyone can rely on it because it not only include only the spiritual aspect, it does not include only a story of Jesus, but it also include the story of various kingdom like Babylon kingdom, then Assyrian kingdom, then Egyptian kingdom. Thereafter, it includes religion, it includes spiritual aspect, it includes literature and family, church, how to lead a nation, administration of a nation, and so many other aspects are there. I hope this would have been very useful to know the Bible and In next lecture we will see the index of the Old Testament, that how the Bible has been arranged, how and the index of the Old Testament has been arranged.